During the early days of World War II, the German Navy sent their U-47 Type 7B submarine on a daring one-way mission that many believed was impossible. Led by Captain Günther Prien, the objective was to infiltrate Scapa Flow, the Royal Navy's most important naval base, located in the Orkney Islands of Scotland. The goal was to inflict as much damage as possible on the British fleet stationed there. It was considered a reckless mission, and even the most seasoned sailors doubted it could be done. Still, on a cold October morning in 1939, Prien and his crew set course for Scapa Flow, determined to show that the Royal Navy was not untouchable, and that they were not afraid. Following the annexation of Austria, Czechoslovakia, and by Nazi Germany, tensions between the United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Germany continued to rise. Although the Munich Agreement of 1938 had aimed to prevent further conflict, the British and French suspected that Hitler's ambitions to reclaim former German territories were far from satisfied. Their fears were confirmed when Hitler offered Poland a peaceful negotiation to recover Danzig and the Polish corridor. When Poland rejected the offer, Hitler felt slighted and saw war as the only viable path forward. After securing a non-aggression pact with Joseph Stalin and the Soviet Union to divide Poland, Hitler assumed that France and Britain would avoid conflict. However, both nations declared war on Germany shortly after the invasion of Poland, proving wrong. Amid what became known as the Phony War, the German Navy had already taken strategic measures. Even before the invasion of Poland in September 1939, the Kriegsmarine had deployed several submarines in anticipation of war, ready to strike Allied ships at a moment's notice. U-47, part of the 7th U-boat flotilla, and under the command of Captain Prien, was one of these vessels poised for action, and would soon embark on a remarkable career. The Type 7B submarine was laid down in February 1937 at the Friedrich Krupp Gemeinschaft shipyard in Kiel, and was commissioned in December 1938. The Type 7 was the most common class of submarine used by the German Navy during the war. With over 700 built, the 7B was an enhanced version of the earlier 7A, featuring modifications such as the relocation of the torpedo aft tube inside the boat and increased torpedo storage. Additional torpedoes were stored under the upper deck and in compartments near the electric motor room, giving the vessel a total capacity of 14 torpedoes. Its secondary armament included one 8.8 Chim SKG Tigapula Lima naval gun with 200 rounds and a 2 cm C-30 anti-aircraft gun. It could also carry up to 20 naval mines in place of torpedoes. The submarine carried 33 tons of extra fuel in external tanks, extending its range to approximately 4,600 kilometers at a surface speed of 19 kilometers per hour. It had 2 rudders for enhanced maneuverability and was powered by 2 F-46 4-stroke 6-cylinder supercharged diesel engines on the surface, and by 2 AEG GU-468s to 276 electric motors when submerged. It could operate at depths of up to 230 meters and had a crew complement of 4 officers and between 40 and 56 sailors. By the time Günther Prien was appointed as U-47's captain, he was already an experienced and highly regarded sailor. On August 19, 1939, he departed from Kiel on his first wartime patrol. Prien and his crew circled the British Isles, collecting intelligence on Royal Navy movements in the weeks before the invasion of Poland. On September 3, 1939, British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain declared war on Germany, with France following suit. Shortly after, U-47 entered the Bay of Biscay and sank several merchant ships, including the SS Bosnia, the Rio Carlo, and the Gardaven. Although the crew encountered numerous British warships in the following days, they were unable to launch further attacks. Eventually, the submarine returned to German waters for resupply and rest. Soon after, Prien and Lieutenant Wellner, captain of U-14, were summoned by Admiral Karl Dönitz. Both men feared that something serious had occurred. After waiting for hours while other officers conferred with the admiral, Prien was finally called in. Dönitz greeted him cordially, and, after some brief conversation, presented him with a map. 2 words on it immediately stood out: Scapa Flow. Prien realized that the Admiral was considering a bold operation against the Royal Navy's primary base. Dönitz, noticing Prien's reaction, asked him calmly if he believed a determined commander could take a U-boat into Scapa Flow and launch an attack against the anchored fleet. Prien struggled to find an immediate response, and Dönitz told him not to answer just yet. Think it over. Report back on Tuesday, and let me have your considered opinion then. Whichever way you decide, it will not count against you or affect the high opinion we have of you. After the meeting, Prien isolated himself and worked out a detailed plan to break into Scapa Flow and escape alive. He memorized the harbor's charts and, after hours of study, resolved to go through with the mission. The next day, he reported back to Dönitz, who simply asked for a yes or no. Prien gave his answer without hesitation. Dönitz smiled and reminded him that others had attempted the same feat during the previous war and had never returned. He then stood up, shook Prien's hand, and wished him good luck. The decision had been made. On October 8, 1939, U-47 began its second patrol and sailed into the North Sea. The mission was kept completely secret, and even the crew was unaware of their real objective, though they suspected something unusual was coming. Scapa Flow, situated in the Orkney Islands off the northern coast of Scotland, was an ideal anchorage because it could accommodate the entire Royal Navy fleet. However, it was also well protected by geography, with small surrounding islands, narrow channels, and dangerous tidal currents posing natural threats to any intruder. Additional defences had been installed by the British after World War I, including block ships and floating barriers. A few days before reaching the target, Prien informed his crew about the true nature of their mission. Many believed it to be a suicide operation, and tension spread through the submarine. Despite the gravity of the situation, every crew member continued with their duties, and on October 14, they arrived at Scapa Flow. U-47 managed to avoid detection by patrolling British warships and navigated through dangerous currents and other obstacles. At 2:27 a.m., Prien announced to his crew that they were inside Scapa Flow. The men quietly celebrated, but Prien was surprised to find the harbour nearly empty. Unbeknownst to them, the Royal Navy had relocated most of its fleet. As U-47 remained hidden and searched for a target, it came across 4 warships, including the recently commissioned light cruiser Belfast. However, they were too far away to risk an attack. Then, a lookout spotted HMS Royal Oak, roughly 4,000 meters to the north. Though Prien had hoped for a larger target, he ordered the crew to prepare for engagement. The submarine approached slowly and, at 12:58 a.m., launched a salvo of 3 torpedoes and loaded a 4th. The crew waited anxiously, but no explosion followed. Prien, visibly frustrated, realized 2 of the torpedoes had missed. Then, at 1:04 a.m., the 3rd torpedo struck Royal Oak. At first, the crew aboard Royal Oak believed the explosion to be an internal issue caused by temperature changes in the munitions. Prien then maneuvered U-47 for another strike and launched 3 more torpedoes 10 minutes later. This time, the impact was devastating. The explosions tore through the armored deck, caused the ship to lose electrical power, and ignited a magazine. Flames quickly spread, and the ship rolled over before sinking beneath the surface. A total of 833 men, including Rear Admiral Henry Blagrove, died without knowing what had happened. As the submarine slipped away from the harbour, Prien and his crew briefly celebrated their success but quickly focused on escaping before British forces could respond. Back in Germany, they were hailed as heroes. Prien earned the nickname, the Bull of Scapa Flow, and U-47 was marked with the image of a snorting bull, becoming the emblem of the 7th Flotilla. Both Hitler and Dönitz personally welcomed Prien home, and he became the first U-boat captain to receive the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. The mission made headlines around the world and boosted Hitler's confidence in the Kriegsmarine. It also raised hopes in Germany that Britain might surrender without the need for a full invasion. Under Prien's command, U-47 went on to sink more than 30 Allied ships, totaling 200,000 tons. But during its 10th patrol in March 1941, the submarine vanished without a trace. Some historians believe it was sunk on March 7 by HMS Wolverine off the coast of Ireland, while others suggest it may have been lost due to mechanical failure, a mine, or even a malfunctioning torpedo. The loss of U-47 and its crew was deeply mourned in Germany. Prien and his men are still remembered as among the bravest to have served in the Kriegsmarine.